Hello everyone, my name is Arwen. I am a physio and yoga instructor. So I just wanted to make a little 35-minute video. This is going to be mainly focusing on opening up shoulders, hips and into the wrists as well. So these are areas that often kind of take the brunt of sitting at computers for a long period of time, or just kind of being stationary, stuck inside, and things like that. So this is a kind of open level yoga class suitable for complete beginners, and I offer some variations throughout for different levels, but at any time, if you're not really feeling a pose, you don't enjoy the pose, you can just take a breath. You can come back into sitting cross-legged, focusing on your breathing, or you can take a child's pose. So in yoga, we're really trying to just link the mind and the body, so we want to be able to practice in a way that allows us to regulate our breathing and allows us to remain calm. So sometimes things are physically challenging and that's good, but if anything is too much, you're finding it too mentally overwhelming, then just pull back from it, stay in the previous pose, or just come into resting. So we're going to start off. What I would recommend is, if you have like a blanket or a towel or anything at home, kind of something around this thickness. So I've just rolled up a blanket here, and what you're going to do is you're going to just sit on it with your tailbone. So just sitting your bum onto that a little bit, and that just allows us to raise our pelvis up a little bit more. So this means that when we're sitting, our hips are kind of over our knees. It also brings us into a little bit of an anterior tilt. So if you find that your hips are really tight, you have kind of a lot of discomfort sitting cross-legged, the higher you raise yourself up, sometimes the easier that can be for you. So if you can sit in easy pose, just crossing over the ankles, and hips can rest here. If you're really tight in your hips and you find yourself really coming up like this, you can either support yourself with cushions, or the further you bring your heels away from your bum, the easier it will be. Okay, so just playing around trying to find a comfortable position. If the legs cross really aren't doing it for you, you can either straighten the legs out in front, or you can come to sit on your knees in hero pose. So any of these options are perfect. When we're actually sitting in a cross-legged position, we care more about our spine than we do about our hips or how close our knees are to the floor. So try to get yourself in a position where you're not slumping over, that your spine is nice and tall, shoulders relaxed away from your ears. So we're going to just begin with some grounding breath work. So breath work is really powerful way of managing anxiety. A lot of research has went into the power of breathing, especially like a long exhale or a full kind of diaphragmatic inhale, so that we're using our whole body and our whole respiratory system to breathe. This can bring us out of our kind of anxious fight or flight state and into a more relaxed state of mind, which I think we all can do with. So we're going to start with a breathing technique called 3-part breathing. So we're going to put our hand on our belly first of all, and we're just going to inhale. Feel how our belly rises into our hands, and exhale. Feel how the belly falls. And again. And exhale. So you want to actually physically see the inhale and the exhale. Okay, so your belly is going to get bigger as you inhale, and that's what you want. You want it to fill up with air, and exhale out. You want to feel the tummy muscles, the diaphragm, contracting in when you exhale. So that's almost squeezing to get rid of all of the breath out. So just doing that a few more times, and making sure as you inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly empties. Good. And you can close over your eyes just to get adjusted to this feeling. Now we're going to bring our hands underneath for ladies, where our brow would be, so kind of underneath where your brow would be, or for men just kind of onto the rib cage, about a hand away from your collarbone. So putting a collarbone here, and you're kind of placing your hands under here. So you can see how my fingers are in the front of my ribs and my thumb is pointing behind me. Okay, so as I inhale, I'm going to feel my ribs expand out way. So my fingers are going to separate away from each other. So I'm inhaling and exhale, fingers join together, and again inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So many of us are quite tight in around the rib cage, and it means we can fully get control of our breath. So we really want to make sure that our rib cage is expanding and contracting, and we're getting that nice movement of the ribs. Lovely. Okay, last one, then we're going to just place our hand underneath our collarbone, and we're going to breathe in and exhale. And what you should feel and what you can see on me is how when I inhale, my shoulders rise up, and what I feel is my sternum and my chest coming into my hand. Okay, so this is quite shallow breathing, and this is where actually a lot of us do most of our breathing. We inhale and we exhale, and we don't even tap into our diaphragm down there. And this is why, like, if we suffer with anxiety, shortness of breath, we can feel really tight in around here. So allowing our body and our lungs to get used to taking a full deep inhale all the way through and a long exhale out will improve our oxygenation, and will also help get us out of that fight or flight feeling, because if our body feels like we can't get a good big inhale, it's going to start to freak out and we'll feel those symptoms of anxiety. So now we're going to put all of those three parts together. So what I'm going to get you to do is put one hand on the belly and thumb facing up towards the rib cage, and the other hand on top. And what I want you to imagine is a jug of water. So when you fill up a jug of water, it fills from the bottom and moves up to the top. So on an inhale, you're first going to feel your belly go out. Then the ribs come out, and then the chest comes up. And as you exhale, chest comes down, ribs come in, belly in. Okay, and again, inhale, belly out, rib out. Really empty all that air. Inhale, belly in, ribs in, chest down. And again, exhale, belly in, ribs in, chest down. Inhale, belly out, ribs out, chest up. And exhale, belly in, ribs in, chest down. And just working away now at your own pace. So breathing in, exhaling out, breathing in and breathing out. And see if you can kind of start to melt those three parts together, so they don't feel separate, but that they work as a ripple together. So they naturally inhale, belly out, ribs out, chest up. Exhale, chest down, ribs in, belly in. Lovely. And again. Exhale. Lovely. Last one. And long exhale. Lovely. Okay, so this is a nice way to kind of segment the different types of breathing that we're trying to achieve. Okay, so now we've started our breathing. For the duration of the class, I just want you to focus on natural breathing, and just to bring some awareness into the breath, okay? So when you're breathing, just to notice how you're breathing, not try to make any changes, but just to become a little bit more aware of the breath. So we're going to just start with opening up the shoulders a little bit. So we're going to inhale, raise the hands overhead. And exhale, float them down. And again, inhale, raise the hands up. And exhale, float the hands down. Good. Last one. Inhale, raise the hands up. Exhale, let the hands fall down. Good. Now we're going to place our left hand down onto the mat. So we come onto our elbow here, and then with the opposite hand we're reaching it up. So our arm comes as close to our ear as we can while keeping our elbow straight. And we're just going to reach that hand as far as we can over. So we're getting a nice stretch through the side body. And reaching as far as you can here, and breathing here. 1, 2, gently come back up. So this is really good for stretching out the side of the ribs, getting our nice breaths in there. And again with the opposite hand, elbow bends down Left hand comes up beside the ear. Inhale and reach that hand as far as you can away. So you're trying to get a nice stretch up the side body here. Make sure that your two bum cheeks still remain on the mat, so you're not allowing yourself to rise up, you're keeping the bum stuck onto the mat. We're just working with whatever mobility we have available. It might be more than me, you might be able to get further down, you might not be able to move down as far. That's fine, just go as far as you can. And you should feel that there, maybe even in the low back, up into the ribs and under the armpit there. And gently back up. Great. Bringing the hands together, and in front we're going to interlace the fingers, and we're going to push our hands as far away from us as possible. So we're really opening up into the shoulders here. So imagine that you're lengthening your arms as far as you can, and then you're imagining that your fingers are glued together. You're going to try to pull them apart, but they're not going to budge. So we're going to pull here. Good. Opening up into the chest. Good. And relax gently. Release the fingers, bringing the hands by the side, and we're just going to circle here in one direction and then swap in the other direction. Good, and relaxing the hands back down. And we're going to make a prayer pose. So we're going to bring the palms together, and elbows are going to come up so that we have a right angle created between our wrist and our elbow. So we're going to push together here, making a bit of a contraction across the chest muscles, pushing the palms together. And then we're going to reverse the prayer. So we're bringing our tips of our fingers facing down towards the floor. Lovely, good, and back up. And again, except bringing the fingers towards your chest and down towards the floor. Good. And we're just going to do a few rotations of that. Out this way and in this way. Just trying to get the wrists a little bit. Now we're going to make a fist, keeping the fist together, elbows in this time to touch, and we're going to rotate the wrists forward and rotate the wrists back, trying to keep those elbows together, rotating out and rotating back in, rotating out and rotating back in. Good. Now we're going to interlace our fingers, keep the elbows by their side, and we're going to roll in one direction. So we're getting the elbows and the wrists mobilizing in one direction. Doing this 5 times, going in one direction, and swap. So rotating the wrists and the elbows. 2, 3, 4, 5. Lovely. Then you're going to take your left hand, stretch out in front, and bring the fingers down towards the floor. Then with your opposite hand, you're going to make sure that you get your thumb, and you're going to apply pressure towards your wrists and your fingers and push it then towards you. Now, this, depending on how tight your forearm is here, you might feel like this is a huge stretch, so just go easy on it, so gently pushing them towards you. Depending on how much mobility here, you might be able to pull it back a little bit more. And just holding here, nice gentle stretch. It shouldn't feel too severe, it should just feel like a nice opening. And breathing here again. Good, and the same on the other side, making sure you get your thumb opening up into the forearm. So just paying attention to your breath during these periods of stillness when you're holding a pose. It's when you need to be focusing on your breath, trying to clear your mind of any other thoughts, just focusing on the sensations in your body and of your breath. Lovely. Now we're going to come back to center, and if you can, grab a towel or a tie or a belt. I'll show you what I have here. I have like a little belt from my cardigan, or like the belt from your dressing gown or something would work. So I have that, or I have just like a regular belt. But a towel, like a rolled up towel can work, or a tie or a ribbon or anything that's just kind of like a piece of string here. Okay, so I'm going to, you can pause this video, run off and get something, but I'm just going to power through. So what you're going to do, this depends entirely on how much mobility you have in your shoulder, okay? So you're going to hold the hands out in front. You're going to grab the rope or whatever you're using with your fists. And we're going to lift, keep that contraction here. So imagine that we're pulling the rope out. We're going to lift the rope up over our head, a little bit back and back down. So this is a really good opening for the shoulders. So if you find it difficult the way that you're doing it, if you find, oh, that's not happening for me at all, then you can just bring the hands a bit wider. So the more rope you have, the easier it is. So see the way I can do that a little bit easier now that I have my hands a little bit wider. And we're just going to inhale, bring the shoulders up a little bit behind, and exhale back down. And again, go gently with this one. We're not trying to do any mad stretches. We're just trying to gently introduce some mobility into the shoulder. Good, and back down. Last one, inhale up, exhale back down. Lovely. And then you can just place that to the side because we'll be using that later. And now we're going to come up onto our tabletop position. So we're on all four position here. So shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Make sure that your fingers are nice and wide spread out on the mat. And we're going to inhale, push the mat away and arch up into our cat pose. So push that mat away, making sure that you don't collapse into the upper shoulder. So you want to have a nice protraction of the shoulder blade here, which means that you're fully pushing up away. So pushing up into an arch and chin comes towards your chest. And then you're going to exhale, bringing the belly down towards the mat and bringing your collarbones and throat up towards the sky. Keep those elbows straight because they like to bend here. We don't let them bend at all. Okay, inhale again. Belly up. Chin to chest. Push the mat away. Exhale, belly down. Chin up. Inhale. Belly comes towards the spine. We push the mat away. Chin to chest. Good. Exhale. Belly down. Chin up. Last one. Inhale. Really elongate that spine. Push up, up, up. And exhale back down. Lovely. Good. Now, what you're going to do is shift all the way onto your left hand and your left knee. And you're going to raise the right hand up towards the ceiling. Then you're going to thread the right hand underneath your left armpit. So threading that back down. And imagine you're going to put your right shoulder onto the mat. That's it. And the right side of the head can rest too. Now, so this is the thread the needle pose. You can stay like I am with my upper hand bent. And you will feel a stretch through your middle back and maybe into the back of the shoulder. If you want to make it a more intense stretch, you come onto the fingertips of this hand and crawl it up towards the top of the mat, which allows you then to open up. So therefore you can kind of look at your left armpit. So you're fully twisting here. Breathing gently. This is a gorgeous one if you sit all day. Really opens up the middle back. We're holding this one for 5 breaths. Gently come back, use the left hand to push you up and come back into tabletop. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So lifting the left hand up, then you're going to thread that hand underneath. Come to place that hand onto the mat so your left shoulder comes down, and then you crawl the right hand up and use that to create a little bit more mobility. Good. Breathing here. Good. Coming back up to your tabletop position. And from here we're going to sit back into a child's pose. So as I said, you can come into this position at any time during your practice. So your bum is going to come down to your heels, hands spread out in front, and you can rest your forehead onto the mat. If naturally your head doesn't come down, if you find you're kind of stuck here, you can just use that pillow or towel, whatever you used at the start, to rest your forehead, just to make it a little bit more comfortable for you. I'll just take a few grounding breaths here. Good. Then when you're ready, come up, remove the towel or the blanket or whatever you were using, and we're going to come from child's pose. We're going to come into downward dog. So you're going to come back up into your tabletop position, tuck your toes under, use your hands to push into the mat and push yourself up and back into downward dog. Okay, lovely. So in downward dog, if you can, I have very flexible hamstrings, so it's quite easy for me to have my heels on the floor, but it doesn't matter if you don't. If you have a bend in your knees, that's absolutely fine. Downward dog, we care more about what your spine is doing, so we'd like your spine to be as straight as we can. So imagine you're bringing your tummy towards your thighs. So you really have to use your arm strength to push you there. Good. So you're just holding here. Look towards your belly button or look towards your knees. And just try to take a few breaths here. You can try to pedal the legs, so imagine that your heels are being dragged towards the mat, just to create some length through the hamstrings, but remembering to keep strong in the upper body. Good. And from here, we're going to float the right leg up and step the right leg in between our hands. So we're coming into a runner's lunge position here. So we're going to relax that left knee down and untuck your toe. So we're relaxing the left leg and we're bending with the right knee. We're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to bend that knee a little bit more over the front foot. So you're going to feel a nice stretch through the left hip flexor. So on the other side. Good. So we're going to just hold this nice hip opening stretch for a few breaths. Good. With every exhale, see if you can sink a little bit lower. Good. Now, bringing in the hands by either side, we're going to tuck the back toe and lift ourselves up. So we're up, holding this way, hands come to chest, holding here. Exhale, knee down. Good. Inhale, knee up. Exhale, knee down. Inhale, knee up. Exhale, knee down. Very good. Untuck that toe. Lovely. Now, you're going to slowly move your bum back as if it was going to go towards the back heel. Okay, so again, depending on how much mobility you have naturally in your knee and your hamstring, you might be able to get it fully straight, you might be bent. Does not matter, it's just about trying to create as much of a stretch as you can. So you're trying to move your bum down towards that heel to get a stretch here. But again, if you're bent, that's absolutely fine. So wherever you are, wherever your knee is, just holding that here. Inhale, extending the spine, and exhale to fold over that front leg. So you're feeling good stretch in the hamstring, maybe even in the front of your tibant of your ankle here. Breathing into that stretch. Lovely. Good. Now I'm going to get you to just bend that knee even more. And I want you to bring your left hand, so the opposite hand that's in front, whatever leg is in front. So I have my right leg and my left hand is going to be placed beside me. And I'm going to just twist my upper body so that my right hand is reaching up to the ceiling. So you're going to push your left hand into the mat to create a nice upper body twist. Good. And you can look to your hand or you can look down at your leg. Breathing here. And float the hand down. Good. Now we are going to pivot our back knee. So our left knee, we're going to pivot so that our foot comes to behind the mat and we come into a side plank. So this direction. Okay, I'm just going to mirror you guys. So we are going to be, this is going to be your left knee and the right leg is going to be coming out to the side like this. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to just first sit our bum down towards our heel. So we're getting a nice stretch through our inner thigh here. Now we're going to add a side bend. So we're bending away from that leg, reaching over. Breathing in, and as we exhale, reaching that little bit further. Good. Push that right foot into the mat so that you get a nice stretch on the inside of the inner thigh. Good. And back up. Now we are going to lift this leg up. So we're going to use our hands, place our hands into the mat and lift the side leg up. Good. Hold it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And back down. Excellent. Going to do that one more time. So on inhale, lift it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Back down. Now we're going to tuck our toes under, bring our 2 knees together, and we're going to take our child's pose. So bum comes back to the heels and hands reach out in front of us. Inhale, exhale, fold. Good. Stretching out the lower back, mid back as well. When you're ready then, coming back up onto tabletop, tucking the toes under, coming back into downward dog. So again, heels floating towards the mat, but don't worry if they're not all the way down there. Trying to bring your belly towards your thighs and trying to get your elbows to face flat on the mat. So they're not pointing out to the side, they're twisting down towards the mat. Inhale, float the left leg up. Exhale, step the left foot in between the hands, lowering the back leg. So we're back into a lunge position here. Depending on the length of your legs, you might want to step the front leg up, just so that when you bend down, you're getting a nice stretch up here on the right hip flexor. So breathing in here. Inhale, exhale, melting the front of that hip flexor in towards the mat. Lovely. Now we're going to place our hands to the mat, tuck the back toe, lift the knee up. Good. Hold it up there. Exhale, knee down. Inhale, knee up. Exhale, knee down. Inhale, knee up. Exhale, knee down. Inhale, knee up. Good. And lower back down. Lovely. Hands back down to the mat. And again, bring the bum towards the heels, this time elongating the left leg. So again, bent or straight, whatever feels best for you. Inhale, elongate, exhale, folding forward. So with every exhale, as you feel more relaxed, just try to bring that bum a little bit closer to that heel, just so that you're getting a nice stretch into the back of the hamstring. Coming back up, and we're going to take our twist. So right hand on the mat, left hand is going to open up towards the side, looking up towards that hand or down towards your foot. And inhaling, exhaling. So nice, slow, controlled breath. Make sure, can you feel your diaphragm inhaling and exhaling? Can you feel it expanding and contracting? And floating the hand down, we're going to pivot the right knee, so pivoting, turning towards the side of our mat. So again, we're going to lean into this middle, into the inner of our thigh to get a nice stretch. So pushing that foot into the mat, so we get a nice active stretch. So we're pushing the inside of my foot into the mat to get a nice stretch there. And then I can side bend away from that leg to increase that stretch even more. Gently return. And this time, so if you depending on your foot, you might prefer to be on the ball of your foot, or you might want to tuck the toes under. So whichever is fine, just do whatever feels comfortable, because sometimes if your foot is flat and you're sitting on it, you can get kind of pins and needles. So you can tuck the toe under it, that's no problem. We don't really mind what this foot is doing, it's more about what this foot is doing. So I'm going to inhale, lift the leg up, hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gently back down. Take a big inhale, long exhale, and again lifting it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Back down. Bring the 2 knees together and return to child's pose. Bringing the head onto the mat, slowing the breath down. And take this moment just to tune in on any effects that you've noticed in the practice. Anywhere feeling looser, anywhere feeling more aware. Try not to judge or comment, but just notice. Then when you're ready, you're going to come back up onto tabletop, tuck the toes under and push yourself up and back into downward dog once more. We're going to raise the right leg again, bend the knee towards the chest, and this time your right knee is going to come towards your right wrist. So you're going to lower that leg down. So my right knee is beside my right wrist and my right foot is just under my left hip joint, okay? And then we're going to relax down. So we're in pigeon pose. So I'll just show you from the front. So this is the position. My right hand is here and my left hip bone is here, and I'm just lying onto that front leg like that, okay? This is a nice hip opener. Just feel a nice stretch in the side of the glute. If you can't bring your bum down onto the mat, if you find you're stuck up here, you can always use that towel we used earlier on. Place it under the bum. Just make you feel a bit more comfortable. The back foot should be fully relaxed. So you can stay here. If this feels really super open and nice, you can come onto your forearms into lying pigeon. But again, don't push it, just stay with what feels comfortable. Good. If you have one of these behind you, just release it. Now this is a bit of fun. So we're going to try to come from pigeon straight back into downward dog, okay? If you can't do this, don't worry, just go into downward dog whichever way you want. But what we're going to try to do is, if we can use our upper body pushing in to the mat, and we're also going to tuck the back toe and we're going to lift ourselves up. Good, and back into downward dog. Excellent. Just going to walk the dog here a little bit. Stretching out the hips. So you can kind of rock the hips from side to side. Just do whatever feels nice. And then get ready to take pigeon on the other side. So floating the left leg up, bending the knee towards the chest and placing the left knee beside the left wrist. Left foot goes around where your front of your right hip would be. And depending again on your hip flexibility, you might be kind of, your foot might be way up here. You might not be able to fully bend. That's fine. Just trying to open up the side of your glutes. So once you feel like a nice stretch at the side of the hip, you're fine just to stay there. It doesn't matter exactly what it looks like. And again, if you need to, you can use the blanket just to tuck under the bum. And coming onto your forearms if that feels okay, or staying up on the hands. Good. Nice slow breaths. And we're going to just see if we can come back up into downward dog. If you didn't try it the first time, that's fine. Just go back into downward dog whatever way you did. If you tried it the first time, let's try it on this side. So again, pushing the hands into the mat, tucking the back toe and pushing yourself up and back into downward dog. Low. Belly towards thighs, elbows facing the mat. Focusing on your breathing. come onto our tippy toes, bending the knees, walking the feet up towards our hands. So bending the knees as much as you need to. You're going to grab the elbows and just rock from side to side. So this is ragdoll pose. So you're fully relaxed. You can nod the head yes, shake the head no. Fully let go. Knees are as bent as much as you need. This is about stretching the back and the neck. It's nothing to do with the hamstrings, so feel free to bend your knees. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, thinking of the 26 vertebrae in your back, I want you to come up so slowly. Imagine each and every one coming up so slowly. Good. Coming to stand, can shake out a little bit, and then coming back to sit into cow's face. So what you're going to do is you're going to bend your right knee up towards the chest, bring the right foot on the outside of the left leg. So this, you're trying to bring this right knee as flat down as you can onto the left knee, okay? If that's not happening, this depends totally on your hip anatomy, so there's no point in pushing this because you'll just hurt yourself. So if this is not going anywhere near this knee, again, just place the towel under. Just try to be a little bit supported, a little bit comfy, because we're going to hold this for a little while, so we don't want you to be really uncomfortable. So if this is your first time doing this position, this is an excellent way to just stay here. If you are really mobile around the hips, what you can try is to bend the knee underneath so that you bring the left heel towards the outside of your right heel. So you kind of fold it over, nearly like a shoelace position. But to go with the first position is absolutely perfect for the time being. So take whatever variation you want, and then I want you to grab the towel or the scarf, whatever you used last time. And I want you to, using your right hand, reaching up behind your head, so as if you were going to take off a necklace. And then the back hand, I'm just going to show you now. The back hand is going to reach up. So you're going to imagine as if you were trying to reach your hands like this. So that's why we use this towel. We're going to grab onto the towel and we're going to pull with our hand that's on top to try to pull the bottom hand up a little bit so that eventually we can join them. So just using this to try to get as much mobility as we can, and you can either even floss in and out if that feels good. If you're quite restricted and you're kind of low down here, flossing up and down can feel really nice. So whatever variation you're doing there, just trying to open up the shoulders. And we're just going to hold here for a few breaths. Gently release the hands, and we're going to swap to the other side. So straighten the feet out in front and then just swap to the opposite direction. So we're going to put our left knee up towards our chest, cross the left foot on the outside, and then see if we can place the inside of the left knee on the right knee. So that's kind of the idea what we're doing. And you can see I'm more restricted in one hip than the other, so I'm nowhere near that on this side, whether I could get them flush the first time. So just take whatever variation you need. Don't get bogged down in it. Just do what feels right for your body. Okay? So again, foot out in front, or if it feels okay, you can tuck the right foot behind so that they're layered on top of each other. Okay. And again, we're going to do it with the opposite hands this time. So left hand will come up behind as if you were going towards your necklace, and then the back of the right hand comes up to join the back of your fingers. Again, using the towel or using the strap as you need. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Releasing the hands. Gently unwinding the legs and coming to lie on your back. Okay. So you're going to come to lie on your back. What we want to make sure is that there's no gap in between your lower back and the mat. So you see how my hand can fit there? I don't want anything to fit there. So what I'm going to get you to is engage your core muscles, get your belly button in towards that spine, so you flatten your back on the floor. So can you see the difference there? So if I just highlight here, these are my hips and I'm flattening my back on the floor. So I have to really engage my core to do that. So we want to make sure that there's no gap in between the back and my mat. Bringing the heels towards the bum, knees are bent. We're going to keep our back push onto the mat. So our core and our tummy muscles are tight, and we're going to lift our bum up off the mat. So we want a straight line between the knees and the hips and the shoulders, okay? We're going to hold here, so really squeezing the glutes here. Chin comes towards chest, holding here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lowering down, so mid back comes down first, followed by your bum. That's it, good, okay? Reset. So every time you come up into a glute bridge, you want to make sure that you're not in this position where you're not tilted forward so you have loads of gap in your back, because then when you go up, you'll just feel it on your low back. So you want to make sure you have a good pelvic tilt. So again, flattening your belly onto the floor. So it's a good thing to put your hand underneath and see if you can feel that. So see the way I have no gap there. So I'm now ready to go. My tummy muscles are turned on, and inhale to lift up. Squeeze those glutes so our knees, hips, shoulders are in line. Chin comes towards chest, holding here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gently lower back down. Mid back comes first, followed by low back, followed by good. And then just hold the knees up towards the chest and rock them back and forward. So again, just doing whatever feels nice. Massaging out the low back, massaging out the glutes. Now you're going to bring your right knee towards your chest, straighten out the left leg, and rock the right knee over towards the left side. So you're creating a nice twist here. Hands can be relaxed, or you can come up into cactus pose. So cactus pose like this, either side. A nice slow breath. Ensuring you're getting a full inhale and a full exhale. Gently bring the right knee back up. Bring the two knees in towards the chest and swap this time, straightening out the right leg, bending up the left and rotating to the other side. So feeling a nice stretch here into the lower back, into the hip. Keep the breath nice and relaxed. And then hugging the knees back together. You can rock forward and back, side to side. And then get ready to lie on your back. If you have any lower back troubles, you can keep the knees bent. Otherwise, trying to have the legs straight out. Hands by their side. Palms up. Palms up towards the ceiling. Make sure that you're warm, so you can use a blanket. Just try to keep the heat in. Closing over the eyes and now tuning into the breathing. So you can place one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. And inhale, notice the gentle rise and fall. You can stay here for however long you want. Just focusing on the effects of the practice, the calm that should now be through your body. Hopefully you feel a little bit more open, hopefully your mind feels a little bit more calm. And just knowing that there is no rush. So I invite you to stay here for a few minutes. I will upload a playlist that I recommend for this type of practice, my slow relaxing one, and some of the songs towards the end of them I like to lie down at the end of my practice and listen to those. So 5 to 6 minutes is a lovely time just to relax at the end of a practice. So sometimes just pick a song that's around that length so you know when to relax for, rather than checking your phone. So I'm going to keep you there, relaxing for the next few minutes. And I want you to thank yourself for taking time to make this practice, thanking yourself for reminding your mind and your body. So thank you all for joining me. Namaste.